Hello, Lockdown Diaries, day 54. Joining me at home today with the main man himself, Mr. Bruce Smart, aka TeapotOne, who some people might already follow in much greater volume than they follow me. So, welcome, Bruce. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks, Nathan. Yeah, thank you very much for having me on.
That's all right. That's all right. Just a casual chat, really. Day 54, Lockdown Diaries, something to keep us sane. What have you been doing to keep sane through this endless winter?
I think we're a bit late for that, really, for me being sane. I've been editing pretty much. That is my life, 7 days a week at the moment. Just edit. I've got my
Do you get bored
podcasts,
of
so
that? Do you get bored, or do you enjoy the editing process?
I get a little bit frustrated at times with it. There's the first part of the whole editing process is the bit I don't enjoy. It's where you, like, if I'm doing a trip vid, I'm doing the Canaries stuff at the moment. We managed to nip in a trip to the Canaries first week in December last year when the travel corridor opened up. So I love the trip stuff, but that first stage where you take, you've got a day's worth of filming, and you've got to import that onto your storyline and then chop it all up into the bits that you could use and the bits that you're not going to use. That takes a day or two. Really, you take 8 hours worth of footage and get that down to the first hour, and then it's just a process of going through it and figure out what your story is going to be that you're gonna
Yeah, because
tell
a hell
through
of a
your.
lot of work goes into those videos. I know when I've
Oh,
watched
aye.
them and
Yeah,
just doing the basic editing that I do, even that is a good 2 or 3 hours of
yeah.
just to achieve what some would say is a crap video. But so for you, for what you guys do, I mean, when you've done it with Missing Doing Fly and that, there must be a hell of a lot of work to have the dual narration going, the conversation going and all that editing.
Yeah, there absolutely, and it is frustrating because when you have, say, 2, 3, 4, even 5 different people involved, and it's everyone. There's communication going on via the comms, so you have to sync everything up, and it is frustrating because it's a lot of work. And as you said, you might produce a 15-20 minute video that you think's your best bit of work, but most people, I would probably say 60-70% of the people, when they click that vid to watch it, most of them won't watch the first 20 seconds, and you're just like, oh.
I don't even bother looking at that sort of thing. I'd rather not know.
Do you
Ignorance.
know?
Just before we go any further, I guess for anybody who doesn't know why, I guess we're talking to you, or what connection you have to motorcycling, what was it that you did that has put you to this point?
Back in 2012, I set off on my bike and I rode around the world for about a year and a half, did 70 odd thousand miles, 50 odd countries. Yeah, in a trip that was called TeapotOne, and it's sort of taken me along this journey to where I am now.
And TeapotOne, why TeapotOne?
I This is where you'll lose everybody. I used to be a copper, used to be a policeman in London, and I took a career break to do my trip, trying to think of a name, and some mates at work basically said, "Oh, why don't you call it TeapotOne?" Now, TeapotOne in the Met Police is the call sign for the mobile T-wagon, the Navy wagon. So if there's a big, large scale deployment of Old Bill, then if you're going to be there for any length of time, they say, right, TeapotOne's being deployed, and then all right, we're here for a
Serious
while then.
situation when the T-wagons are.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're going to be here a while. Okay, then. And all that happens is that, you could be stood on a cordon somewhere for hours on end, and then you get 10 minutes off of that to go and have a cup of tea, biscuit, a cigarette if you smoke. It's just 10 minutes to get your head together, and then boom, you're back on wherever it was that you were. So I thought, well, I'm taking a break from the Old Bill for a while. I'll call it TeapotOne, and then at least 30 odd thousand coppers in the Met will be like, oh, what's this TeapotOne luck? And that was it, really. TeapotOne was born.
And the notable bike of choice on this trip was?
Yeah, it was the perfect bike. It was my Suzuki GSX-R1000. The beast.
The beast. Now, people are going to say, well, in the way I worded that question, would almost suggest it's inappropriate to make it. But why do you think it did work as a good round the world bike, the GSX-R?
I think I mean, obviously, I get asked this all the time. What's the perfect bike? Blah blah blah. When I was looking at doing this trip, I must have, I've seen Long Way Round, obviously, and then I think I checked on YouTube. I googled YouTube something about motorcycle around the world, and I think the first thing that came up was Jacques Lucassen. I think so. It was Jacques Lucassen on his R1, and I thought, oh, he's done it on the R1. That's pretty crazy. And then another time when I've tried to find out a little bit more about him, Nick Sanders popped up. And I was like, blimey, there's two nutters out there that have done this. So in my head, it was like, well, if they've done it, I can do it. That's the bike I own. I loved at the time, I couldn't see beyond a Gixxer. It was just the bike, still is really. And I just thought, right, that's the bike I'm going to do it on. And I think the more I got the reaction off of people, oh, you can't do it on that bike. That made me go, okay, that's the bike for me then. That's the one to take.
And why did it suit the trip, is it? It's obviously be easy to point at why it didn't suit, but why did it suit the trip?
I mean, I spend a lot of time on my bike, and even then I was doing, 40 odd thousand mile a year. I was always on the bike 365 days a year. So I never had comfort issues with the Gixxer. After a couple of hours, yeah, all right, it would hurt a bit, but you just get off stretch, get back on, and it was normal for me. I didn't know any different because that's the bike that I rode. I had fun on the bike.
GS now,
and yeah, now I've done that trip. Now I'm on the tractor. Yeah, no, I can't see beyond that now. But it was just my bike. Like Jacques Lucassen said to me, take the bike that makes you smile, and that bike made me smile. So that was the bike I was going to take on a trip.
And I guess one of the issues I've addressed in the video so far is luggage. So when you're thinking about around the world on a GSXR, so it's obviously you can't just bolt on your aluminium panniers. You've got to think something else. Did you use a Venturi? Was it or? I
used Krieger. I had I was really lucky that Krieger came on board and said, "Oh, we'll supply the luggage for you." So I was like everybody else when I started the trip. I had an obscene amount of kit with me when I first left. It's ridiculous. Big, massive Peli case to have my laptop in it and all my electrical kit, which weighed a ton, and that's strapped on the back. Then on top of that, I had fuel canisters. I took a camping stove with like 2 or 3 weeks worth of ration packs. It must have weighed about 30 kilograms, just that alone. So I had ridiculous amount of kit. Very quickly ditched most of that and stripped the kit right down. So yeah, just a couple of soft bags on the back, tent bungeed across the front, tank bag with some tools, and that was it.
What tools would you take on that? Did you take?
Again, I took way too much in terms of tools with me because I've got no mechanical knowledge. I can tighten my chain, lube my chain, and I could strip the fairings off of the bike. I didn't know what to do once I'd taken the fairings off of there, but I could take the fairings off. That genuinely was the extent of my technical knowledge. But I went to Halfords and bought myself a professional socket set and pretty much took that whole big socket set crammed into a bag. And I probably used 2 sockets and a screwdriver out of all of that. Because at the end of the day, when I didn't really have any mechanical issues per se, apart from the subframe snapping. But if there ever was an issue, I just found a mechanic, and the mechanic's got the tools. So,
so
I had a puncture repair kit.
Things like that. Were you just taking it to a garage for the oil changes and changes?
Yeah, I was. I mean, the Gixxer was every 4,000 it was supposed to have a service, but I would run that to every maybe 8 to 10 at times. It just depends. It depended where I was at the time. Like Russia, I got the bike a proper full-on service in Moscow, and then it was serviced. Oh, blimey. When I got to Japan, luckily enough, I crashed when I got to Japan. So the bike could have a full service once I was in Japan. So in between Moscow, the whole of Russia, South Korea, and then Japan, there's probably near on 9,000-10,000 miles there. So I exceeded the service interval, but the bike was fine.
Because I suppose, when you're traveling, you're not running it at high revs or anything. Yeah. You're not using it in the way it was
Nah,
Design.
exactly. Yeah.
And then I
It's
guess,
more of a plod, isn't it? It's
yeah,
not a sprint.
which even goes easy on the chain and brake pads and everything
Yeah.
else. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's the thing with it. When you're traveling on a bike, it doesn't generally put that much strain on it because you're riding at a pace which is generally a bit quite gentle, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. But then, you know, you are, if you're doing a big sort of world trip or even just an adventure style trip, you are putting the bike in some fairly hostile environments at times, aren't you? So you might not be going fast, but I certainly was putting the jigsaw in places where it's not designed to go, but it'll do it. Like any bike, it'll do it.
Yeah, a bit of mechanical sympathy, I guess. Is it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Where's the bike now? Have you still got the bike?
I have, yeah. She sat out in my man cave out in the garage. I haven't ridden her since, God, I haven't turned the engine over since 2015. That was the last time I rode her. And I do admit, I look at her in the garage and think, that's a shame. She needs a wee leg stretch, but you know, she'd need an MOT now, and to get her past her MOT, all the fairings are held on with bungee cord and cargo nets, and you know, I plastic welded and stitched some of the fairing together with cable ties. So to get it by the MOT, I'd have to change all that, and I want to keep her the way. You know what I mean?
She's a
I want to keep her how
museum
she
piece,
was.
isn't she?
Yeah. Nobody wants her though, mate.
Well, she's welcome down at the unit.
I would love to. I'd love to get her down there.
Bring her down here. She could sit next to that ropey old sidecar that I've got in there.
Right, you're on. Let's do it.
Bring it down. We can have like a Hall of Fame, a motorcycling Hall of Fame.
Yeah, she'll be in good company. She'll be in good company.
I don't know if you've been asked this before, but what made you become a policeman in the first place?
Wow, it's not something that I'd always wanted to be. You know, I didn't grow up thinking I want to be a policeman. It wasn't anything like that. I went to uni. I did mechanical, then civil engineering at uni. I started working on the doors in Glasgow whilst I was going through uni, and you know, I enjoyed that sort of that environment. I didn't work with thugs. It was a good professional outfit that I worked for, a very big club in Glasgow, and I enjoyed the camaraderie with everybody, you know, there, and I enjoyed mixing with people, and I don't know, I just enjoyed that environment. I started thinking about the military, so I did have a little look at the military, and then as it happened, my mum sadly got diagnosed with cancer, and my mum and dad had moved back down to London. My mum was English originally, so once my brother and I had left home, they moved back down to London. So my mum had been diagnosed with cancer, and my relationship with my son's mum at the time had gone pretty bad. We'd split up and things weren't good. And I just thought the Met was recruiting, and it was just like okay, let's have a fresh start here. And that was it really. I put my application in to join the Met, and it took a couple of years, and eventually I was in.
You enjoyed it?
That was it. I did. It's a tough job. It is a tough job. I'm not saying we're all angels at all. You know, I think we could be our worst enemies. I'm saying the old Bill can be the worst enemies at times, but it is a uniquely hard job that has big implications on you as a person, just with what you deal with. That causes all manner of issues. You know, you put big barriers up because of the environments that you're working in, and you learn not to trust anyone because nobody tells you the truth ever. So it does have an impact on you as a person. And I started not to like who I could feel myself becoming. You know, it was I loved it. Don't get me wrong. You know, it's some of the best times of my life in the old Bill, but I was ready to leave when I eventually left. 18 years I did. So.
And how do you think those 18 years affected the way you then went on to travel? Do you think that prepared you, those skills and that approach prepared you well, or was it difficult to overcome those trust issues and everything else?
I think the people skills that you develop in something like the emergency services or even in the door. You know, the ability to chat to people, the ability to read situations, that was definitely a positive, but it was also a bit of a negative because certainly in West Africa, in Mauritania, when I found myself in quite hostile situations, I was on like full alert, red alert, where I think if I'd been a bit more naive to a few things that were going on round about me, I maybe wouldn't have been as on edge as I was. And that definitely, it's the old Polaris box, isn't it? You know, your reaction affects my reaction, which affects your reaction, which affects my reaction. And that definitely worked against me there, where I was sort of on the front foot, I think, a lot through Mauritania, and that put other people on edge, like the police when I was dealing with them. And I mean, it was bad. It was a bad situation, but I think I learned from that. And the rest of the trip, I was much more chilled out about everything, and it definitely went, you know, much smoother after that bad little period.
I guess you'd be sort of conditioned to meet that confrontation with confrontation. Would that be right?
Yeah, to an extent, yeah. I mean, again, I think that's part of people skills, isn't it? You have to acknowledge that time when maybe that isn't the ideal time to be confrontational. Maybe you do just need to bring it down a little bit. You know, if someone's up here, if you go in up there, 9 times out of 10, things aren't going to go well, are they? You're going to end up rolling around on the ground, and that's maybe all right when you're in London and you can hit your button and all that sorted. But when you're in the Sahara Desert and they've got an AK and you don't, that's not the time to do that. It's, you know, you've got to bring things down, and you know.
You're a big chap, tall, and obviously, you know, bouncer stock, let's call it that. So, how, because people worry about safety on the road, did you feel more safe, do you think, because of your physical size, or do you think that was irrelevant to how it worked?
Again, what I've found in life is that it's a 50-50. Some people react one way to someone who's big, and other people react in a different, you know, some people take it as a challenge. I remember on the doors and even in the old Bill, you have tiny little lads and they're like, I'm going to have you, you know, I'm going to have a pop at you because you're the big guy. Whereas other people, as you said, other people are like, I'm not messing with you. But, you know, I don't want people being scared of me. Do you know what I mean? I'm not that type of person. I'd rather chat to someone and sort things out that way. You know, I'm not a good fighter. Most people will kick my arse anyway.
I'm not going to put that to the test. I'll concede defeat. So you left after 18 years. Was it after 18 years you went around the world and then came back and did more years in the police?
No, I had 10 years in, I think. Yeah, 10 years in just over 10 years when I did my trip. So yeah, I took about a 1.5 2 year career break, came back and sort of resumed with the rest of my service. So I suppose I actually only had about 16 years in then, you know, on paper, because I'd had 2 years away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like an 18-year period between when I'd signed up and when I left.
And how was it when you got back? Because, you know, sometimes the issue with a big trip or anything like that, or any big break, is it coming back home and settling back into, I guess, routine, normality. How was it? How did the trip hinder that, or how did it help that?
I've never hidden it. I think I found coming home harder than most parts of the trip, to be honest. I struggled for about a good year and a bit. I just, you know, people think that when you go away on one of these trips, you'll have all that time to sort, you know, you'll find the answer. You'll figure everything out, won't you? And when you come back, you'll know what you're going to do with your life and you'll have some direction. I just sort of came back and thought, what was the point of that? You know, what do I do now? What's next?
Back into your job, did you?
Yeah, I came back straight into my job, and it was weird because no one else has changed. Everyone else is doing the same thing and moaning about the same things they were moaning about 2 years ago when you left. And you come back, and you know, I certainly had changed. You know, my thoughts on a lot of things had changed, and just me as a person. And it was weird coming back into that same environment again, especially in the old Bill, where you're getting told what you do, and you're very much constrained about what you can do and what you can say, and what you can portray to other people. And I never really fitted back in, I think, when I came back.
And so what about now? So you left full time.
Mm-hmm.
What year? Is it a year ago now? A bit longer?
Almost a year, yeah. It's about March. It was literally the week before lockdown hit us last year. So
Oh, it was. Yeah, I remember now.
yeah.
And so that's sort of like leaving the warm, embracing bosom of public sector and everything that comes, the security that comes with that, into the brave, wild world of self-employment and YouTuber, and where you've got to sell and build and develop and create. I mean, it's a big change, isn't it? That
Massive. It all of a sudden it's a business now, isn't it? It's not just your baby, your little toy. It's, wow, this is a business, and you've got to produce all the time. You can't afford not to, because the second, the way things work now, the second your figures, your analytics, the second they start dipping, then brands start noticing that, and they don't want to get involved if they think, well, no one's paying any attention to this, so why bother? So as when your mortgage starts relying on that and your bills, it's a bit of added pressure. I'm loving it. Don't get me wrong, I'm loving it, because I'm doing the job I love now. So yeah, I just want to do it in a normal environment. It's a year of lockdown now, so it's, yeah, we've got through this. Let's move on.
So what would you say to anyone else who's thinking about doing that, leaping from a relatively safe lifestyle to something that's, and not necessarily vlogging. I mean, a lot of people set up a business, don't they, or branching out on their own.
Yeah.
I mean, what would your suggestion be to anyone in that?
Be very, very realistic with your potential prospects. Do you know? And by that I mean, be very realistic in the fact: are you going to be able to financially survive just doing this? To leave a form of employment and then to solely go down that route. Are you going to be able to survive, financially? And if not, then maybe don't just jump. Why not build this up whilst you have a bit of a safety net? Ultimately, that decision, that the time comes, doesn't it, when you have to make that switch. But I think you can't live in cuckoo land. You've got to be very calculated about it, make realistic projections on the finances that are going to be involved here, your time constraints. It can't all be about the business. I've certainly been guilty of it. You've got to give some time to your family, take some time outside of what your new business is to go away and do normal stuff, anything outside of that. So I've very much thrown myself in and spent hours, days just sat in front of the computer, and you do suddenly think, I actually haven't been outside in 6 weeks. I've just been sat at a computer. So I think you need to try and find that nice balancing point at some point. I don't think you can get it straight away. I think I think you're always going to go too far one way initially, and you just have to figure it all out, haven't you? It's a balancing act, isn't it?
Yeah, and mixing business and pleasure. I mean, I guess if biking's your passion, would you recommend people turn that into a business, or does that take the joy? Do you still enjoy riding a bike for pleasure, or is it just now a work tool, a way of earning money, a bike?
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. It is different now, definitely. I have times when I do have times when I'm like, right, this is business. This ride is business. I've got to get this content for that, and that. But I'm still riding a bike. I'm still out. You can't complain about it. I did that trip in the Canaries, and although it's a pain in the bum to edit, I was in the Canaries, effectively. Well, I didn't really make any money of it, but I got a free trip out of it. And I'm in the Canaries riding some of the best roads in the world with some great company. You can't complain about that, can you? You're living the dream. I could be sat at an office desk doing a job I absolutely hate. So, I'm never going to complain about it. But yeah, as you said, I think it's not always rosy, is it? You know, when your passion becomes your job, it's not always awesome. Sometimes you just have to put your business head on and right, I've got to get this done now. Yeah, but don't lose that passion.
And what about this year? What, you know, once lockdown ends, once the sanity resumes, what where will you head to? What's the plan?
Well, I sort of made a conscious choice the start of this year not to get any press fleet bikes in. As it worked out, a lot of the press fleets haven't been able to get into the country, have they? So there's been issues there anyway. But I think next weekend I'm away doing something with BMW. So that'll be my first sort of bikey type thing I've done this year. I've got the TV show. We're starting to film that, Motorbike TV.
Motorcycle TV.
Yeah, so that's starting.
You're coming down, aren't you? No, it's okay. Something else. Adventure bike. I think they're coming down as
adventure bike. Yeah. They're filming Adventure Bike TV at the moment, and then once he's got that all sorted, then we'll start filming Motorbike TV. So there's some exciting things coming with that.
What's in store? What have we got in store then? Viewers of Motorcycle TV.
I think the angle they're trying to go with that is ultimately a Top Gear for bikes. So it's I don't think they want to aim in this series. They are wanting to aim at like the sort of bikes that most people can just go to a dealership and get. It's not going to be that type of show. They're going for the more unusual bikes, some high value bikes, but they're going to be doing, each episode will be like, there might be an episode about electric. There might be, well, there was going to be one around the TT, but obviously that's not happening. So there's a few other things happening around about that. We've got a sort of bike Olympics show that's coming. There's just lots of little quirky angles based around whatever element that show is going to be about. That's all I'm going to say. But that's due to start on Amazon Prime in August, I think.
On Amazon Prime, and that's so that's sponsored by Dunlop.
It is, yeah. You'll be able to watch the whole show on the Dunlop website or the Motorbike TV show website, or Amazon Prime if you're in the UK, Germany, and America, I think, at the moment. And
which Top Gear presenter are you modelling yourself?
Joe, everyone asks that. I'll probably be Captain Slow.
Is it Paddy McGuinness?
Joe, I haven't watched the new one. The only one of the new ones I've seen is when, was it Flintoff? They put Flintoff on a bungee crane over the side of a dam in a car.
Yeah.
I watched that. I thought that looks awesome.
Lined up for you, is it?
I hope not.
C90 being launched off it.
They'll need a big bungee.
Now, I think it's an interesting time, isn't it? Because the established journalistic industry and trade is sort of tailing off in the sense that people aren't buying magazines as much. I guess what you would generally herald as a professional writer / journalist is time is coming to an end, to an extent. So how do you feel that, I guess you've got a responsibility as a prominent vlogger to impart knowledge and help with a buying decision for your viewers. What do you see your responsibility as being when you test a bike? What are you trying to pick apart from a bike in order to inform the viewer?
Yeah, I've never said I'm a journalist. I'll never ever claim to be like the all-seeing, all-knowing person on bikes. I'm not. I don't get into the technicalities of bikes or anything like that. I will give you my genuine, honest opinion of how that bike makes me feel. Do you know what I mean? Like, I always say, does this tickle my danglies? That's sort of my thing. It's like, you know, if I get on a bike and it leaves me a little bit, then you're going to know that by how I am on the camera. You know, I'm a bad liar. I don't lie. So I'll tell you exactly how I find that bike or that bit of kit, whatever it is. which makes it difficult because, you know, when you want to do a sponsor, certainly when you're trying to get brands involved, so maybe not the manufacturers, because they don't, you know, manufacturers don't pay for bike reviews. You just get given the bike for a week or two to ride it. So the sort of the brand deal type stuff of YouTube is things like, you know, kit, manufacturer's kit, maybe a camera or glove or an item of clothing or something like that. They may give you some marketing budget, not always, but they may give you some marketing budget to do that. And I have to make it plain to them and say, look, you know, just because you give X or Y for this video, I'm not going to say it's great if I don't think it's great. I will give it warts and all, but to the same extent, I'm not just going to go, this is crap, don't buy it. You know, very few things out there are bad, are they? You know, there's good, there's bad. It's the old poo sandwich. You've got to be as constructive as possible, because at the end of the day, someone's going to go and spend their hard-earned money based on what you're saying, aren't they? So if I go and say something,
already have spent the hard-earned money, and then they see you in the street and say, "You said that bike I bought."
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And it's hard because just because I like a bike doesn't mean to say you're going to like a bike. So I have to tell people why I like it or why I don't like that aspect of it. So, you know, for me, it's just being as open and honest as you possibly can about what it is you're saying, and then it's down to other people if they think, well, I'm like that person, so I think I might like that, or actually I quite like the spongier feeling in the front, so that bike sounds like it's down to me. I'm up for that.
So like this event on the weekend where you go to BMW, do you, when you get invited to things like that, do you feel sort of compelled or almost not coerced? That's too strong a word, but do you feel like you've got to come away saying that's great, whatever you know, whether they give you a bike or an event or whatever?
No, I don't, to be honest. I do. You do see it. I definitely. There's a trend at the moment, and it really grips my poo that what manufacturers have been doing is on a bike launch, they in an advance they send you their press pack for it, and that's got pictures and videos and everything, all the details about this new bike, and then they say, you know, on this date time that bike is being launched. So what a load of people do is they make videos based on this press pack, and then like at 11:59 on that date, boom, all these videos get launched and they get massive views. But it really winds me up because nobody's ridden it yet, you know, and people are putting these bikes out, and so I don't get involved in that, but it is annoying because they get massive views. And then by the time it comes to like me to go and ride the bike, no one's interested anymore. They've all, you know, it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, and that ship sailed.
Bob's had to say about it.
Pardon?
Read what Motor Bob's had to say about it.
Didn't want to bring it up, but yeah, I mean, he produces good content, you know, like the production value is amazing. But it is press pack material. So
I didn't really want to single anyone out, but yeah, it does seem that there's been a glut of them post-lock during like this year. There's almost a lot of people have turned to, like myself, doing daily diaries. So I can't say too much, but a lot of people, there seems to be more and more videos out there, or people setting up channels and things like that. And so I think if you were to say to your viewer, I think the viewers got to be careful what they watch and what they trust, haven't they? Because there's so much that is being put up there at the minute that really has got no merit to it, whether it's press back or.
But do you not think, you know, you've got to give people some credibility here, I think, in that most people can detect bollocks, you know, and I think most people know a sales pitch when they hear it. And I've certainly been guilty of that a couple of times. I've watched some of my vids, and I've not intentionally set them out to be a sales pitch, but then I've rewatched it and thought that comes across as an advert, and I genuinely didn't want it to be. But it, you know, one of my sponsors, have been giving me they do like motorcycle dash cams, and I've watched. I really wanted it to be as critical and analytical as possible, the videos of it. And yet when I've watched the reviews, I've just thought that looks like a sales pitch, you know, and it genuinely wasn't.
You should be on QVC, shouldn't you?
Yeah. You know, it's yeah, and that does make you, you know, for me, it's like, okay, I need to learn from that, and I need to make sure I don't make those mistakes the next time I do one of those vids, you know. So
yeah,
you're just continually trying to appraise your back catalogue, aren't you? And just, you know, I just want to be as genuine as I possibly can be, and honest as I possibly can be, because at the end of the day, I sort of think people are more than capable of sniffing out bollocks, and you know, all they need to do is click on another vid. If they don't, if they don't like what you're saying, both click on another vid and off they go. Simple as that.
So, having just said all that, what advice would you give to somebody who is thinking of setting up a channel, whether it be the recording and editing side, or getting hold of stuff to test? What would your advice be to someone?
Just do it. If you want to do it, do it. Just set it up. You're never going to be. The chances are 99.9% of us, when we first start doing stuff like this, we're crap on camera, and some would say I still am. But just get out there and do it. Just set your channel up. It doesn't cost you anything. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of videos on YouTube to tell you, you know, how to film, how to edit, how to get the best sound, the best camera, how to put your keywords and your tags and your descriptions and your thumbnails. There's just so much information. There's everything you want is there for free, available. And just get out there and get in front of the camera and just start developing. Don't try and be like anyone else. Just be you. You know, be as normal and genuine as you possibly can be, and you will attract your community. But it won't happen overnight. You know, it does take a long time on YouTube, unless you're one of these very rare channels who just seem to trigger it. They get the right trend topics on board and they explode really quickly. Might happen. Chances are it won't. So just get out there and start producing stuff.
And we did talk about it before we started, but what about dealing with the negativity that comes with YouTube? What would you say to?
You've got to have a thick skin. It's so easy to say, but you really do have to have a thick skin. It's not personal at the end of the day, because most people, when you see the comment, you'll probably never ever meet. And I certainly, if I see a name and I see a name of someone that's been following the channel for a long time, and generally what they say is very positive, if there's something negative, then, you know, obviously I'm going to be like, oh, okay, I need to take note of this. This is probably something I should take note of. But if it's just a cheap shot, if it's just a cheap dig, then ignore it. It's playground stuff at the end of the day, isn't it? Someone wants their 2 seconds of fame off the back of what exposure you have. So don't worry about it. But it's easy to say, a lot harder to do.
Yeah. Favorite 5 bikes of the last year? Well, actually, is last year? Is it any worth? Is it worth saying last year?
Yeah, did I have five bikes last year?
Yeah. 2 years.
My ultimate best bike that I rode last year, and for me is the best road bike available at this moment, for me, is the new Gen 3 KTM Super Duke R. Phenomenal machine. Phenomenal. Closely followed by the what? What was that? The Speed Triple RS. Loved it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. Load of fun. Great road bike. Great road. I'm not a massive fan of off-road, but
well, I saw that Sinis video. I thought you did well on that. What bikes are you looking forward to riding the most going forward? Because I guess all the press launches have been released, cancelled this winter as well, haven't they? So there would have been no bikes.
Yeah, there was a couple. There was one out in the Canaries, wasn't there? Actually, just when the travel caught. That was a Trident. I didn't do that one because I was over there anyway for that tour I did. This year, I'm looking forward to. There's the new KTM Super Adventure that's got the updated engine from the Gen 3 Super Duke. That's coming out. So there's a Super Adventure and the GT versions of that. I'm looking forward to trying them. There's the new Speed Triple RS, the 1200. That could be a proper weapon. So I'm looking forward to trying that. There's, believe it or not, I'm putting my old man cap on here, the risk of having things thrown at me. There's the new BMW RT. That's out. So I'm trying that in a couple. The reason I'm saying that is because we rode the old RTs at work in the old Bill. And I thought this thing is going to be horrendous. It's, it's the size of a blue whale. It's going to be terrible. And I was gobsmacked at how agile and maneuverable that thing was. So I'm looking forward to giving that a go. I'm trying to get a little bit of Ducati action. So I want the new Diavel. I want to have a little play on that.
Big and shiny then.
Yeah.
I do. Big and shiny.
I like the big, powerful bikes. I do, just because, I'm a 20 stone fat lump. So I like a big, powerful bike to be on so that I feel relatively normal. And, it's the fastest I'm ever going to move in it. So
you've not been down to North Devon yet?
Yeah, I have it. Do you know, I do like the little bikes though. Last year we did myself, Mr. Fish, who's another YouTuber, and Richie Vida, another YouTuber. The three of us got ourselves a couple of 125s. I had the Sinus Apache 125. And, pardon?
The Terrain or the Apache, was it? Oh,
it was the Apache.
Apache.
Okay. Yeah, so I had the Apache. Fish already owns a Super Cub, Honda Super Cub. And Rich managed to get a Super Cub from Honda. So Fish and I rode up to the Peak District, met up with Rich, and he took us on a tour all around the Peak Districts on these 125, went off-road and everything. And then Fish and I went down into Wales and did the same thing. And genuinely, I had some of the biggest laughs and grins that I've had on two wheels. So I'm not averse to the smaller bikes. I've reviewed quite a few of them now. So, yeah.
I'll have to get you down then. Not posties.
Mate, I would love to. Genuinely, I would love to. Yeah.
We booked in.
Love to.
Friday. As soon as lockdown ends.
Let's do it.
29.
Yeah. What about you then? So when lockdown eases up, you're going to be all systems go, I take it.
I'm going to try to be. We'll see what happens. Yeah. I mean, B&B's and that can't open until May 17th. So there's a little bit of gap between, people being out. So we can do day trips and things like that. But the overnighters, May 17th. But actually, it timed it quite well. I got a Land's End John O'Groats run. I put in 23rd of May. So nice. Week after, or the weekends after the May 17th, when you can have up to 30 people together. So all being well, that should be able to go ahead. If it had been a week earlier, it wouldn't have been. So I should have like 20, I think. 20. Well, we'll see what happens. So Land's End John O'Groats. I don't know. We've got mixed group. I've got a man coming with his dog. One man's going to do first time I've had a canine companion.
Yeah.
I always have a mix of wild folk of different type, disposition on different vehicles, old, new, slow, fast.
Yeah.
I'll be on the mighty Himalayan, which I was disappointed wasn't on your list of bikes to ride.
I've never ridden it. I've never ridden the Himalayan. Never ridden it.
Well,
I've got no contact with Himalayan actually. I've never had any contact with them.
Oh, come down. We'll put some wood on the tires.
Yeah, let's do it.
So all being well, I'll be able to trade properly from May 17th. So I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? It's been a weird old time, I think.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
Everyone's dealt with it in their own different way and had different things to deal with, depending on how they've been affected, whether you're a business or whether you've been working from home or whether you've, had people affected by it health-wise or whatever. So I think everyone's just looking forward to the doors opening, aren't they? And being able to ride with the impunity of legality, which is always...
Yeah. It's already got like a feeling of Christmas coming, hasn't it? Or that holiday you've been looking forward to. I just can't wait. I just hope people don't go way over the score. You know what I mean?
Well, they will, won't they? But
of course they will. Of course they will.
If it's sunny on that first weekend on the end of this month when we're allowed to ride, I think there won't be a bike in the garage, will there?
No, probably not. Yeah,
they'll all be out there with flight. So there'll be absolute chaos. I mean, there'll be bikers who haven't been out on bike for 8 months or whatever, tearing it around. But that's all. Good.
Definitely. I want to head up and do Scotland, but everybody, I think every biker in the country is heading to the North Coast 500.
Yeah.
So, right.
I thought that last year though, but I did go well, it was September, and it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be all right September, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing is, I don't know when Scotland's gonna open up, let us in. Scotland's going to be behind us, aren't they?
Yeah, Jimmy Cranky's going to hold off, isn't she? So
she looks like she's going to hold it to ransom. I think she was last spotted laying bricks, wasn't she? Adrian's wall.
She's rebuilding it, isn't she?
She's pointing the foundation. So I don't know. You know, like that Land's End Johnny Groats trip, it might not get through the tractor beam of Scotland, and we might be stuck at the border.
I think you'll be all right, mate. It's not exactly a hard border up there, is there? You'll be all right.
I know. It's just I did find last year it's the campsites that patrol it the most.
Yeah.
Well, all businesses in general, because they don't want to fall foul.
No, true. Very true.
So, I know we did around Scotland. It was 2 days after the Rule of Six come in, and there were 12 of us.
Right.
So we were like that to split into two and then pretend. Oh, hi, as we turned up to the campsite.
Fancy seeing you here.
Yeah, fancy seeing you another 6 of you there. Yeah, I know. It's fingers crossed today. This year's a return to normality. Interesting to see what it means for overland travel. I don't know. It's hard to know how that's going to work. Whether overland travel is going to get kicked back in as we once knew it. That sort of world that we knew it when we could just take off with the visas in hand. Whether when that's going to happen again. Whether it's I kind
of think it will come back, but I'm not expecting to see that sort of freedom this year. I think I think maybe look at next year for that style of travel. It could be wrong, but certainly, you know, I have done a lot of tours, even just to Spain, and I'm not envisaging being able to run Spanish tours probably this year. I'm holding off and wait till next year. Really, we'll see. Could be wrong.
Could be. It's one of those. It just gets uncomfortable when you're having to keep cancelling stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's that uncertainty, isn't it? You can't plan really. I feel quite nervous planning even anything in the UK. You know, in the build up till certainly before June. I'm like, it might not happen. So let's just see what happens. Play it by ear.
At least we're all in the same boat, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If we can't go, nobody can go, and therefore. At least there's a level of understanding, isn't there?
There is. It's just been a unique time, isn't it? You know, and I'm sure we'll look back on this and laugh. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be all right. We'll be all right. All right. Well, I think we probably waffled on long enough to. I don't know how the algorithm works, but I think we've probably lost about 7/10.
It's a funny old game, as they say. It is a funny old game, YouTube.
Yeah. Oh well, we're just talking. That's all right. People can't judge us for talking, even if we talk shy.
Oh, I didn't know we could swear. Oh, can we redo this? Didn't know you could swear.
Earlier, so that's it. You've already broken my whatever. All right, mate. Well, good to catch up with you. Best of luck with everything. And hopefully see you, well, either over your way or over this way, whatever. And good luck with Motorcycle TV as well.
Thank you very much, man.
When's that coming out again?
Should be August, I think. It will be on Amazon Prime and also on the Dunlop website.
Okay.
August time.
And where can people find you on YouTube?
For me, if you just search TeapotOne, 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 I'm all over that. Don't think there's anyone else called TeapotOne on YouTube. So yeah, great to see you there.
Now I'm going to try and nick some of your subscribers.
Definitely, it's the way to do it. It's the way to do it. Yeah. I'm definitely up for coming down.
Yeah, I've got your B&B book next week, so you're coming.
Bosh, right? Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, mate. Good to catch up.
And you, man. Look after yourself.
You too, bud. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.